All right, what's going on, y'all? It's T the Best, and I'm here with, of course, Keith and Roger. Say hello to the people.
Yo, yo. Hello.
Yes, and so Outriders has officially become available as far as the beta goes. I'm sure Roger has probably played a couple hours, and so has Keith, and I have also put in a couple hours. So we figured we'll come on, have a quick conversation, see how everybody thought about it, and kind of take it from there. So we'll start with Roger, who has probably the least amount of experience with looter shooters, and see how his thoughts were on this game.
It wasn't bad overall. I mean, you could tell the game is influenced by a lot of other games. I know we were kind of mentioning that it had like a Mass Effect feel of like the walking and all. And then, of course, looter shooter, you get a lot of feels of Destiny, especially with the UI. I thought like messing with equipment and all got kind of a Destiny feel to it. But overall, I did enjoy this take on it so far. The story was enough to keep me interested. And yeah, I think that's kind of about it I have immediately.
Keith?
I've enjoyed the demo so far. Real fast, for those who have not enjoyed anything from People Who Can Fly, their stories are super cringe on purpose. Like they don't write serious stuff. Their stuff is literally meant just to be funny or cringy. If you want more exposition on that, go play Bulletstorm. It's funny and cringy all at the same time, but that's kind of their style. So it was nice to see that within the demo as well. The game isn't taking itself seriously at all. It's kind of meant to poke fun. And in fact, I think you could see it in one of the first screens that you end up seeing where it says "Eyes Up Outriders," like kind of like poking at Destiny. So all in all, I like how not serious they're taking themselves. They haven't crossed over into the Borderlands lane, but like Roger said, you could see a lot of other games within this one, and it seems like they're trying to kind of carve out their own little piece, be themselves, but also learn from what other devs have done with their MMO looter shooter type games. So currently, I'm liking the demo.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially for a team that's done freaking Gears of War, and then of course Bulletstorm. For them to go from essentially just single player games to looter shooters is definitely a huge jump. Granted, I don't know if maybe Fortnite Save the World part of it was okay. It seems like they had to like help in that one. But it's interesting the fact that this is just like something completely new for them, and they're not doing terrible. Granted, of course, there are bugs with any beta, so there is that. But so far, story-wise, it looks like it could be interesting. It does hop around a lot, or at least some of the cutscenes seemed very off at times. I know Roger said that sometimes the mouths didn't match, or it will just skip for no reason. So outside of that, it seems like it's going to be an interesting game. Now, of course, we do need it to fully release, which is in April, as long as it doesn't get pushed back again, which is something I'm kind of looking forward to. All right, so we talked about just basics of it. What do you think as far as like graphic wise? Did it blow you away? Is it something new? Because I know you two played on PS5 and I played on the PC. So we'll get to my comments on it. But as for the PS5 version, did it look good? Did it seem choppy? Like, how did it feel as you were playing it?
I guess I'll go. I liked the graphics, but it was nothing that like stunned me away. Like I thought the like character models were pretty good. Like especially my character, I know Terry had a little different opinion of that, but it didn't look bad. And then scene where you kind of walk out into a field and see a bunch of, I don't know what they called the animals there that were living there, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I would say I don't think they've even really specified, but it was like that kind of looked cool. But then when you start running and it does the motion blur, which I'm not a fan of, it seems that it does take a hit there a little bit. So like overall the graphics weren't bad, but it was nothing like I'm blown away with.
Yeah, nothing groundbreaking in terms of that. Some of the guns, those legendary guns, look really, really good. I like the detail within them. But outside of that, it's kind of your status quo. It's normal type. I think we've hit a time where we probably won't see a really crazy graphical leap maybe for another 2 or 3 years, I think things will kind of look okay. Nothing. So, and that on that end, where you have a lot of different people with customized things and all that, I guess that's all. That's a good nod to it. That it doesn't look like trash, and everyone's own customizations look terrible as well. So it does the job.
Yeah, I was gonna say graphic wise, it didn't look terrible. Some parts were kind of like iffy, especially some of the bugs that would appear. This is more of like from a person aspect, as of say one of your characters, if you're just walking, a lot of the times if they have like capes or something on, it will clip through their body. I don't know if you guys seen that one at all, but a lot of times certain things will just clip through a person's body. So I mean, we can't really say too much about it. I mean, it is a beta, so there is that, but outside of that, it didn't look terrible. I mean, it did what it, I think it did what it was supposed to do as far as the beta goes. It told you the story, it told you how it started. And then after that, it just kind of showed off how his gameplay was. You know, you saw the hub. The hub actually wasn't terrible. The only thing that sucks is that motion blur is constantly on. Of all things, that was like the one thing I have a complaint about, is motion blur constantly being on, and it sucked.
Could be wrong, but a screen shake on too.
Yes.
Yes.
Horribly.
Yeah, the screen shake is what bothered me a lot. Motion blur I can kind of get over, but that screen shake, I was like, all right.
The screen shake for no reason, I think, was more bothersome, because it'll be like, hey, we're talking and there was a screen shake, and you're like, okay, this is weird.
Yeah, that was my thing. I was just like, why is my screen shaking? I was like, all right, cool. So after the screen shaking, it's like, all right, now I have to run, and on behold, now I got to worry about motion blur, and it's just like, it just sucked. That, at least that part does. I think they did confirm that they will be able to turn it off once the full game comes out. So hopefully that continues on and they allow us to customize it. But outside of that, graphic wise, it wasn't terrible, but it was interesting, most of them. So next we're gonna go to, now of course everybody ran into bugs and stuff like that, but mostly, how did you think about the gunplay and kind of like the reward system? It looks like
gunplay was cool coming from other third-person shooter games. I think any person who plays that will feel right at home. Now, in terms of the cover shooter, if you're a first-person shooter and you come over to this, you may not like cover shooter games. It's going to vary person to person. However, the game and the mechanics actually don't want you to be in cover. It kind of wants you to use your abilities and to kind of get in the thick of it. So in terms of that, it felt really good, and it always kind of felt dangerous, if you will. However, when me and Terry played, I was able to just like revive. So I don't know if when the full game comes out, that ability will be taken away, and if you actually do get down, that you need someone to come rev you.
so for that one, so you get one revive. Roger and I ended up having this happen. You get one revive, and then after that, somebody has to come revive you.
Okay.
But
Well, even that, I don't like the one revive, to be honest. It kind of does take a little bit of the danger out, like, but it also, like, I guess that lets you go be reckless just because, and that kind of adds into the fun of it. So we'll see how they plan on dealing with that. I don't mind either way, but it's just gonna make me more reckless if I get a revive.
Yeah, gunplay is not different than many other games. Of course, we've all played Destiny, so for us, we're kind of comparing this back to Destiny, where that gunplay is is different. You know, you have different guns that end up coming into the game. You got different ways to use those guns. It's just a little bit different than what we're currently seeing with at least Outriders, but there's nothing else that kind of takes Outriders outside of itself. You have the normal shotguns, LMGs, assault rifles, SMGs, pistols, and all that kind of stuff. So, as far as that kind of goes, not too much different than any other looter shooter. Unless Roger has anything else to say on that one.
Nah, it was the cover. I know the powers was a big thing. I don't know if you're going to hit that topic, but that kind of added to it, which made things cool. And then I did like the one revive because of the powers, actually, because I know when Terry and I played, we had a guy that kind of separated you. Like you would almost jump across the map. So the revive was actually kind of nice to have there.
See, that's perfect. So, powers. How did you enjoy the subclass? Of course, Roger just kind of touched on it.
Yeah.
But I know, Keith, you played as the Pyro, right? Did you play anything else outside of that, or?
No, I just played as the Pyromancer, which was really cool and allowed for a lot of, I guess, combos when you and I played. But there are also some gun combos that worked in tandem with that. Some of the guns seem to have perks on there that seemingly work in tandem. The Singularity Gun was one of the cool ones that I thought that really could add a whole lot to just powers. For those who don't know, there's a gun that if you get a headshot with it, it will actually create a singularity, and then that singularity can explode, or you can explode it. And if you're using Pyromancer, you can also make people combust. So you could make people combust, and then you could also hit the singularity and making that like a double explosion. So it was a lot of crazy things that you could end up clipping into one another. So I'm really curious to see how much more these guns end up clipping into the weapons. But there are also a lot of armor pieces. I didn't get many that seemingly buffed a lot of my abilities, but I know that they're out there. So it seems like there are going to be some really crazy builds that you can get into with the powers that are available. And whether they're 8 per person, I believe. I think it's 8 per class.
I believe it was, yeah. Because in the beta, we're only allowed, I think, the first 4.
Right, yeah.
Now, of course, if they end up releasing more, we don't know until the actual game releases. But Roger did end up playing as, I think it was the Techno one, the one that was further out, longer range, I believe it was.
Yeah. And that was like a weird mix. I guess it was like technology, but it was mostly ice. It was really weird. But I actually enjoyed those power-ups. You got like a grenade, a turret gun, and a rocket turret gun, I guess I would call it. And those actually worked pretty well. It was cool to freeze people because obviously you could just like shatter them when they were low health. So that was a nice benefit. But yeah, overall, I did enjoy the powers. I didn't get too much time into like seeing how they like integrate it with other stuff in the guns. I haven't really noticed that, but I did enjoy the powers overall and just like what you could do with them.
So it seems like the powers are just basically, you have your tank version, which is, I believe it was the Earth class. I played a little bit on that one. Didn't really seem tanky. It just seemed like kind of you can grab aggro at times. There also was a CC control version as well. I think that's the one that Roger ended up playing. And then you also have the Pyro one, which didn't seem to be the DPS that much. I know the Trickster, it was probably the pure DPS version. I mean, it seems like you're kind of just like a glass cannon as far as your powers go. But them incorporating a tank, a CC, and then of course everybody being able to DPS, you think it's worth it? You think it's gonna work in this game, or is it gonna kind of not, just fall on his face a little bit?
It's all going to depend on the mechanics. If they're able to pull one thing from a lot of these games is that you can create some really cool mechanics and make powers feel valuable in a way. I feel like Destiny at times it was always skewed one way or the other. So it was, hunters with the golden gun with the celestial nighthawk was a must-have. Then it was, warlocks with the lunafactions must-have. So if there's a way they're able to kind of make it a little more balanced, then not make it kind of class-specific, and I think that would really be a boon. And as well as, like I said, just good mechanics and good level design that allows you to kind of puzzle and DPS, and I need one person to hit a lever over here, one person to do that. It's just, I think that's what it's going to boil down to in terms of it falling on his face or not. Just having that replayability and everyone on the fire team feeling like they contributed in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's the only thing I worry about, replayability. I hope it lasts longer than Anthem did. A lot of us only kind of lasted maybe a week or two in Anthem before we're just like, game's nothing. There's nothing here. So hopefully this game can actually hold that and at least move forward in some form of aspect. So, final verdict here. You think it will last longer than Anthem, or at least make it to the point of it competing with a lot of these other looter shooter games? We'll start with Roger on this.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it has a chance. I did enjoy the demo a lot. I guess you kind of got that impression. I did like the little powers and the cover system. So what I look into a lot of shooters is what makes it kind of stand out more. And there ain't too many cover shooters out there that I can think of immediately, other than the games that this company has made. But that made it a unique twist. Like I said, the powers, fighting some of the bosses, I saw where that could get really crazy really fast. So that could be pretty fun. It's just if they can add more to it, I guess, from the demo, because like right now, I kind of did feel I was playing Destiny after all that. So it was like, would I play it after that? I'm not sure, but right now I do see it like I could see it definitely lasting longer than Anthem, and could be adventurous if we can see what the rest of the stuff was. Like I remember the skill tree was very in depth. Like that shocked me how in depth that was looking at the screen.
Yeah, I think it's gonna last longer than Anthem, and I feel like the release window is its greatest asset right now. With Destiny pushing back all their DLC, Anthem calling it quits, and the division's not really making a whole lot of noise. It's the perfect window. They get some time, and no big releases will come out until about May 18th, I believe, or something like that. I think Resident Evil comes out then, and Deathloop. So have about a month really of nothing coming out, nothing really making noise. So it's a really great pocket for them to just try to establish themselves. The big key is going to be content. People burn through this stuff. So if you don't have enough for people to do and then continue, because people will just literally burn through your game in about 72 hours. And if they got a little bit more than that and meaningful things to do, I think the game will be fine. And just some balancing. Now, I don't know if they're going to have a PvP aspect to this. Is one thing I really didn't look into. I don't know if this is purely PvE or what, but that's going to be another thing that they look into, because people love their PvP, and that's going to come with so many headaches of balancing and figuring out which class is too OP and nerfs, and it's just going to be a lot. So
All right, yeah. So I feel like it will do at least decently. Like Keith said, it does come out at a time where there are less games that are currently out. Destiny 2 pushing back its time frame as far as their big DLC for the year. And then a couple other games that aren't coming out until like May. So it's gonna at least have that chance to shine. There won't be any kind of overlap unless we are missing some huge game that we don't know about just yet. So hopefully it does do well. I have somewhat high hopes. I kind of dash hopes now since Anthem and Destiny 2. So my hopes are we're just gonna keep them low at the moment. But I think the game's worth checking out. It is currently free as far as the beta goes. You have about, I want to say, maybe 2 to 3 hours worth of gameplay right there. Maybe less. Four side missions, and of course the regular story mission that goes up to a certain point that you can kind of check it out. So if you haven't already, check it out. It is kind of worth doing. And that's kind of it. Unless anybody else has anything else.
the game's gore is pretty good.
I do agree.
If you hate gore, this ain't for you.
I'm about to say it is very gory. So if that kind of makes you squeamish a little bit, you might not want to touch the game. But outside of that, it is a good game as of right now. That's gonna do it for this. I appreciate you two for joining me. Thank you so much. And yeah, catch y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.